here as always every Saturday morning, bright and early, for the Winner's Circle, where myself and Anika review AEW Collision from last Saturday and AEW Dynamite from last Wednesday. It was Winter is Coming, which is a special Dynamite episode, so we will get into that. It is bright and early over here, 7 o'clock on the West Coast, 10 a.m. over there on the East Coast, where Miss Anika is at. How you doing this morning, Miss Anika?
Um, I'm good. I'm good. Discussed earlier in the chat how tired we both are. Yesterday was fine. It was just busy. And this morning it was like, oh, you thought another day it was gonna go away. No, here comes tired. It's just like I got more things to do. Leave me alone.
Well, we'll try and maybe keep it a little shorter today than normal since we all got stuff to do. If
Try is the operative word.
try is the operative word, that is correct. Let's see if you're new to the Workhorse Wrestling Network YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit that little bell to be notified. It was a little off this morning. I realized that when I got up a little bit that I didn't get it at 6:30 for the show, so I apologize to everyone for that. But generally, we have them scheduled, so you should get a notification every time we put something up or are about to go live. If you're with us on Twitch, give us a follow over there. We appreciate you over there. Wherever you're watching with us today, chime in the chat. Let us know what's going on. Let us know your thoughts on Collision from last Saturday or Dynamite Winter is Coming from Wednesday. Anything else you want to talk about wrestling wise or just in general. We are here to talk to you. So, without any further ado, we can just jump right into it. Collision was last Saturday, December 6th. And we are right in the midst of the Continental Classic tournament. So that's our focus
Yeah.
every AEW show at the moment, which is good. We're also working up to World's End, which is on December 27th, I believe, next or 2 weeks from today. So lots of stuff going on as usual. They like to keep they like to keep a lot of coals in the fire in AEW. So let's
Yes,
see.
I do.
It opened with a Continental Classic match between a Blue League match between Orange Cassidy, who already has 3 points, and Mr. Roderick Strong, who to this point has 0 points. These two can really wrestle. Um, and I thought this was a very solid match. I've never been the biggest Orange Cassidy fan, but I am a
Mm-hmm.
Roderick Strong fan. I give Cassidy credit for that he's good at what he does. I'm just not the biggest fan of it, but these two have good chemistry. They work well with each other. I thought it came off well, and Roderick Strong got a win finally to get his first 3 points on the board, which was nice for Roderick Strong. I always find it interesting when they choose who they choose to let have points and not have points in something like this. And I was kind of concerned that maybe they might end up leaving him with a donut hole. So I'm glad that he did get some points. He should get a win. He's solid enough that he should get a win. What do you think of this?
Uh, Besides the Orange Cassidy part, I do agree with you. This was a great match. I love both these dudes. Um, a little surprised that OC won, and I don't know why. I don't know why I am. Just more so that if you love wrestling, you know these two dudes, and Roderick Strong in the ring ain't no slouch, and those backbreakers. It's like, sir, you don't have to do it. Like, it literally hurts, especially when he tossed OC up and then just bend his knee. I'm like, okay, that hurt your legs as well. So I thought this would have been the time for him to win, but I'm not mad at it. I think there's a story behind it, or maybe I'm just hoping there is. It's like Roger being so against the conglomeration. That's why he's losing. And when he finally accepts them, that's when he's going to win. I hope that's the I hope that's the story. But as of right now, just wrestling wise, yeah, nah, it was really, really good. And if Roger don't get any points, that yeah, I'm like that will be an interesting. Like, yeah, I'm hoping he gets points because that would be crazy.
Let's see. Next we had an announcement from Tony Schiavone that does affect the Continental Classic tournament, in which an injured Darby Allin has to take himself out of the Continental Classic tournament. He will be replaced by the newly returning well, not newly returning, recently returning. How's that? Jungle Jack Perry, who has returned to form with Luchasaurus and Jurassic Express, as opposed to whatever we had Hollywood Jack Perry before, the heel. Um, so let's see. He says he's gonna win the whole fucking thing for Darby. Let's go. What do you think of it? What do you think of? How do you feel about Darby Allin being out of the Continental Classic? Jack Perry replacing him, and this little segment here.
Um, I feel for Darby 'cause I know it sucks. I know he's a risk taker, but I know he loves wrestling. And this, I think he was trying to make it kayfabe with the promo, but I think his real emotions came out because like it was definitely not his decision on what he said. They're like, well, the doctors are keeping me from wrestling. Darby saved Darby from Darby, and so it's just like, and so it was just, and then the frustration was like, if it has to be that way, Jack Perry win the whole thing. So yeah, no, I feel for him. I it was a good match with Kevin Knight, right? That was a great match. And but I don't know, but with this, with what happened, I am not sure if Kevin Knight winning was the decision. What was the first decision they made? You know what I'm saying? Because it feels, because like he said during that match, my legs just gave out. So I'm wondering, did your legs give out during the match or after the match? You just That's when you felt it. Um. So yeah, it's I'm glad he's better. I'm glad because he did the whole what you call it, Death Riders push up thing. So he's fine. Just a matter of what do we go from here with him, right? I'm not sure what was the plan for him with Continental Classic, but or how long they're going to keep him from wrestling to make sure he's fully developed. But yeah, like now the real reason is where do we go with him from here?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely disappointing anytime Darby can't wrestle or we can't see Darby because he's so exciting to watch and he's electric in the ring. At the same time, I like Jack Perry. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I like face Jack Perry. I don't like heel Jack Perry. I never liked heel Jack Perry, but I like Jack Perry, and I think he's solid at what he does. Is he not as exciting as Darby Allin? Maybe not, but he's a very solid wrestler, and I don't think that you're losing a whole lot from the wrestling end by bringing in Jack Perry as the substitute for Darby Allin. I thought this was good. I mean, Darby, yeah, you can tell that his emotions were there, even though, like you said, he tried to seem like he was whatever. But like, yeah, his emotions, definitely got a little bit of the better of him a little bit. But that's for me, like that shouldn't be kayfabe because that makes people more relatable, right? Like you should just let us see how you're really feeling to a certain extent. I understand it is what it is and you're acting, so maybe it's not all real, but the realer it is, the more authentic it feels and the more relatable people feel just in general. So yeah, I mean, I like you said, it's definitely disappointing for Darby. It's disappointing in general for wrestling because he's so good for wrestling. But again, Jack Perry in the Continental Classic is not Jack Perry is not a slouch, so it should be fine wrestling wise as far as him being replaced by Jack Perry. So let's see, we have the Bang Bang Gang, and they want those titles from FTR. Stokely's in the ring talking about the Bang Bang Gang, and then Wheeler trashes them, and then Dax trashes them, and then out they come, Juice and Austin. We're still waiting on the return of Jay White and Colton Gunn. I guess what I was a little confused about here was why East Austin wasn't at least with them. If is it was it later tonight or was it on Dynamite that he had a match? I want to say it was on
Later on,
Oh,
tonight, I
complaining on
think.
tonight, so
Yeah.
maybe that's why he didn't come out, but he still could have came out at least just to be like, I am a member. Remember, I'm still a member of the Bang Bang Gang. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I understand it's FTR as a tag team, and it's gonna be Austin and Juice versus FTR for those titles. So that's I guess that's why they're there. But Stokely's there. Might as well bring out Ace. I mean, you might as well bring out all your people, right? So I thought that
Yeah.
was so odd. But again, uh, Juice Robinson is a solid promo. Well, okay, let's start over. Stokely's amazing. Dax and Cash are great at what they do. They're both phenomenal talkers. FTR is always in its bag. That's why they are FTR. That's why they're one of the best on the planet and, one of the greatest of all time. Um, the Bang Bang Gang is solid. Obviously, like we said, they're missing Jay White. They're missing Colton Gunn, who is what it is. Um, Austin has gotten better, and Juice Robinson is always fun. So this was fun. I thought this was good for what it is, and I'm interested to see this tag team match. There's no way. There's no way that these guys are beating them this quick. Unfortunately, FTR is going to probably have these titles, I would think, for at least 6 months, I would think. But, it's going to be a solid match. And I thought this was a good little in-ring segment. What do you think of this?
No, I totally agree with you. They're hyping up the Bang Bang Gang, and well as they should. Because, like, with any match, even though I am in the same boat, that I don't think that they're going to lose to FTR, just a little tinge of doubt is like, let's see. So they're definitely building a little tinge of doubt. The whole Austin Gunn thing, sorry, Ace, Ace Austin, I get it, because, like, you say like Stokely's out there, but I don't. I think I guess you just don't want to put Ace in the position of management per se. Maybe that's why I don't want him out there. Like, no, he's a wrestler, and definitely the whole he had a match later on tonight definitely helped as well. But no, solid promo. And in another world, this could happen, but not right now.
It's whose house? Swerve's house. Swerve recently returned, recently back from injury, is here with Anana, and he wants the world championship that is on the shoulder of Samoa Joe. But, and thankfully, I'm so happy he's in this position. I'll get to it in just a minute. But here comes Josh Alexander, who is happy to say that is enough. I'm tired of hearing about you, or I'm tired of hearing from you, Swerve. It is Josh Alexander's time. Josh Alexander should get the opportunity against Samoa Joe. Um, and well, he's out there basically talking. He distracts Swerve enough that Shibata comes out and attacks Swerve from behind. Um, ultimately, Swerve, and then Shibata kind of runs away a little bit. Not runs away, but kind of, takes him out and then leaves. And then Swerve's kind of alone in the ring at the end. Um, and Alexander says he will see Swerve next week. Well, after Swerve is already kind of down after Shibata took him out. So I thought this was good. Swerve is always great. He's a solid talker. I always enjoy Swerve. I'm so glad he's back because he's one of our AEW, main eventers, superstars at the very top level. So him being back is great for AEW in general and wrestling overall. Um, I'm very interested in this Josh Alexander, hopefully little push here. Like, I don't imagine he's going to win the title, but even getting a title shot is nice for him because he has been putting in the work, and I don't feel like he's gotten the recognition. I feel like he's one of those guys that, because the Callis family is so big, that he's kind of just been relegated to doing the dirty work and hasn't really gotten the right push for a guy that's as talented as he is. So again, I don't think he's beating Samoa Joe because I have a feeling that Swerve is going to be the one to take the title off of Joe at this point. But, or, I mean, it could be Hangman again. I think it's more likely Swerve. But I think that this is a great spot for Josh Alexander to actually get a main event title shot. And I think Josh Alexander versus Joe would be great, as well as Josh versus Swerve would be great. Maybe we'll get Josh versus Swerve to see who ends up with a shot against Joe. Maybe that's the ultimate outcome of this. But I'm here for this. I thought this was good. And I, even though I like Swerve, I'm a huge Shibata fan and an Ops fan. So Shibata taking out Swerve for me isn't necessarily the end of the world. And I think it just continues to hype it all up. So What do you think of this?
I loved it. We're in the same boat again. More so when Swerve came back, like there were like we let's hear why you're joining Heyman. What are your intentions here, right? The whole teaming up with Heyman, yeah, it's a nice moment, but now it's like, why? And I love that even like fast forward, sorry, not fast forward, rewind, rewind when the Offer Good Guys and Swerve was helping them that little meteor a second, and Samoa Joe was like, my AEW ropes. I love that they're like, yes, let's as of right now, Samoa Joe being the champion is in question of how good of a decision it is. Not so more Samoa Joe being the champ, but more so do we take the belt off of Hangman too soon? And to that I say it already happened. It is what it is. So let's focus on what we can do. And let's not negate that Joe has a lot of people he can compete with. Like it's a lot of rivalries we can renew during this title reign. So I don't want it to be a short one. I don't want it to be a long one, but I don't want it to be a short one. So it's like, yes, him versus Samoa Joe, that was a nice little rivalry. Him versus Darby. That was probably the best rivalry for the TNT Championship, in my opinion. That was like it only lasted for 2 weeks, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. And and then like a couple of others, like like him versus MJF. So it's like we got some matches we could do for taking this belt off of Joe. So I am very interested in hoping that they at least give us 3 of those matches before they take the belt off. Right now, totally agree with you with Josh Alexander, where it's like you want to have hope that it's going to be in the meantime they're going to get their spot. But if you're a wrestling fan for over 10 years, that hope dies down. It goes up in flames. So if it's not immediate, it is like, okay, oh my gosh, they're not doing it. So yeah, this little peak of Josh Alexander versus Swerve, yeah, it doesn't have to be a long little feud, but yes, give Josh a moment to shine. That's all. Let's give him a moment to shine. I know he's in the family, and it got a lot of people up in there, so he really can't be showcased. So just let him get this little shine, and just yes, like if you were a fan in TNA, he has the goods. He's actually yes, it can be very much so entertaining.
Yeah, I agree with all that. We have a segment with Mercedes Monet, your CEO, who seems a little rattled. Are we starting to see a little bit of some cracks in the Monet Foundation? A little bit. She's a little Lexi Nares backstage with her. And she is not happy. She's a little worked up about how, just in general, about Red Velvet and the Ring of Honor Women's World TV title and just what's been going on with her. She's got Layla Gray tonight, and she's going to put her down and make her pay for, I guess, Red Velvet's transgressions to a certain extent for the fact that she doesn't have her 14th title, I suppose, from Statlander. Just that she's at the moment that she's lost to Statlander, and that then she lost in Final Battle to Red Velvet. So that's 2 losses for Mercedes Monet, fairly back to back. One of them costing her a title that she actually had, although it was only an interim belt because Red Velvet was hurt in the first place. So you can debate whether whatever it is, what it is. But so what do you think of this? Talk about this little segment before the match, because she had a match right after this with Layla Gray too. So what do you think of this little segment? Are we starting to see some of the cracks in Mercedes?
Yes. Yes. Finally, let's get to something interesting up in here. I do love it. And like we said, she got 12 titles. So this spiral is not going to happen immediately. We got some time. But yes, give this to me. Yes, I will enjoy every little bit of it.
And unfortunately for Layla Gray, the spiral did not continue tonight as TBS champion Mercedes Monet won for 12 belts. She did defend it and retain it against Layla Gray in a fairly easy match. Not easy, but Mercedes is Mercedes and Layla Gray is Layla Gray. No offense to Layla Gray, but um, you know, even with the spiral, you're not going to have a person with 12 titles and the pedigree of Mercedes Monet, who's your current TBS Women's Champion, unfortunately lose a belt here to a Layla Gray, probably. So I thought this was pretty predictable. At the same time, I felt kind of bad for Layla Gray because she did take the brunt of Mercedes' aggression at the moment and got beat up a little bit. But hey, still a spot for Layla. She got a TBS championship match for what it's worth. I don't know how legitimate a shot it is, but at least she got a match. We haven't seen Layla in a while, so it's nice to see Layla Gray. But yeah, what do you think of the match and Mercedes ultimately retaining? I mean,
Now they have her ringed it up on Ring of Honor, but I digress. Um, this was a okay match. I think Layla Gray got hurt, and I think that's what made it go a little bit faster than it was anticipated. Because in the I'm not sure what happened, but she was holding on to her knee, and then that's when Mercedes did the whole money statement, and that's 1, 2, 3. It feels like something happened where Layla couldn't go on, and that's very much so unfortunate. Like you said, especially when you have this time on TV to shine. Very hilarious when Mercedes started beating up Christopher Daniels. It's like, what, he didn't do nothing. Like, he's retired. You're a female, but there's no reason to beat up Christopher Daniels. But like, this was fine. And yeah, there's Layla is getting better, but as of right now, there is no way she should be beating Mercedes Monet. So typical win, no matter what happened in between.
yeah, and especially not for the TBS Women's Championship. I mean, if it was a non-title, maybe in a fluke type situation, it is what it is, but definitely not for the championship at this point. They
Yeah.
don't Layla like that, and that's not the right spot for her at the moment. Let's see. So Eddie Kingston has some final words before his world championship match at Winter is Coming. He says he's been dreaming of this since he was 9 years old, and Samoa Joe is not going to get in his head because he is already in his own head. And no one can, no one, yeah, he's already taken up enough. He's his own worst critic, I guess, is essentially what he's saying. He cares about let's see, he cares about the wrestling. He loves it. He cares about AEW and the business. He sees people going down a path he doesn't like, i.e. Samoa Joe. And it's time for a little bit of a reckoning and to show these young guys how it's supposed to be done. Eddie wants to show the young generation how it's supposed to be done. Well, what do you think of this little fiery Eddie Kingston promo? He almost looked like he was going to cry at one point just out of emotion, but Eddie always kind of looks like that. So, what do you think of this?
This is proof that 2 weeks is not enough time to build a match. This was the promo we wanted on Dynamite, but people think that should have happened. Like, I'm like, no. It takes a minute for wrestlers to feel out what they want between a feud. Like, what is the backstory? What is the motivation? And like here it is. Here it is. I want it to be done the right way. I want like because you winning the way you did is going to affect how the kids, well, the younger people think how to win the title. So I gotta beat you. It's like, yes. It's like no. Let's stop with the 2 weeks build. At least 3 weeks. Not sure how many people watch Collision, but hopefully they watch the promo because this is how you build a match.
We get the cameras backstage, and they're outside of the women's locker room, and the Triangle of Madness is beating up some women. They've already left a little pile of a couple women. I couldn't tell at first totally who it was, and then I was only kind of I only kind of half watched this little segment because I was doing something else at the time. But then I saw Stat Daddy run in and try and attack them, so it was a big old melee. Ultimately, this is leading, I think, to Thekla versus stat for that title, right? And then we're gonna go. I mean, we'll see what happens at that point. What do you think of this little backstage segment and the Triangle of Madness beating up these women, and then
Um,
okay,
sure, cool. You know,
sure.
they didn't officially announce it, but I think we are getting towards Statlander and uh Hater versus two of them chicks. So we definitely need to make we do like they just lost in the Continental Classic. Oh, they're sorry, the women's tag team tournament. So you do like not gonna say you need to build them up, but maybe like a couple of more hits to make them more threatening. So cool. All right.
Cool. All right. We have Ricochet. This is his first defense, I think, since becoming the inaugural AEW National
Mhm.
Championship. It is against the aforementioned member of the Bang Bang Gang, newest member of the Bang Bang Gang, Ace Austin, recently signed to AEW. I thought this was fun. I mean, Ace Austin is a very solid wrestler. Ricochet is a very solid wrestler. As we know, Ricochet's been on AEW doing good work for a long time. He was over at the other company doing good work for a long time. So we know what Ricochet's capable of. We know he's got his boys with him, the Gates of Agony or the Demand, whatever you'd want to call them as a faction or a group. Ace Austin, I thought held his own. Um, as I kind of assumed, he's not going to lose the title this quick. So Ricochet did get the win and defend those titles. I thought the ending was a little interesting. It felt like it kind of ended abruptly to a certain extent. Like they were going and going and going, and then Ace Austin had him kind of in a spot, and then all of a sudden Swerve had a counter, or not Swerve, I'm sorry, Ricochet had a counter into what looked like a big clothesline and got the pin. It wasn't even like the spirit gun per se. And then he got the pin. And it kind of shocked me a little bit that it happened as quick as it did after having such a good match. But again, it is what it is. I didn't think Ace Austin was going to win, but I thought he looked good. He is a new member to your roster, and you want to make him an integral part of Bang Bang Gang. So you want him to have a good showing, which I thought he did here. And Ace Austin is a very solid wrestler. So you don't have to do much but put him in the ring. And when you put him in the ring with a solid wrestler like a Ricochet, you're going to get a good outcome. So I thought this was really good. And yeah,
Yeah. No, totally agree. When it's matches like these, does not matter who wins or loses. It's like how do you show up and show out? And Ace often definitely showed out. I don't know. So more so my gripe is with the title. No offense, but it is like, what is your purpose again? Why why do you have this? And so like I thought there's gonna be like not not exactly a indie title, but he was gonna go to I don't I don't know. So like Ace Austin being his first competitor, and we didn't even hype it up. It was fine. It was fine. But we gotta if we're keep gonna have this title, can we get a purpose for it? Even if it's not the right purpose, like no, this is Ricochet's purpose for it. I need something to make this title special. Please and thank you.
yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, Tony wants or has said before that he wants all titles to feel equal. I don't think you can do that to a certain extent. I think you need to have titles that are mid card titles. And if this is going to be one of those, putting it on Ricochet first, you're either telling us that Ricochet is a mid card guy or you're telling us that this isn't a mid card title. You can only be telling us one of the two things. So the question is, which is it? And if it's not a mid card title, then why do we have five main event titles or four main event titles? Like, I mean, so yeah, it is definitely an odd spot. It's an odd title, and at Ricochet, even though I think he deserves to be wearing gold because he's been doing great work, it's weird to me that he's the inaugural champion for what feels like what should be a mid card title. So after the match, FTR comes in to attack Ace Austin because he is a member of the Bang Bang Gang and they have a feud with Juice and Austin at the moment, or the Bang Bang Gang, I guess you could just say. Austin and Juice follow behind FTR. Ultimately, they have a little, melee. Little FTR tries to hit him with the belts. They get out of the way. They end up punching FTR. FTR leaves the ring, leaves the belts, and bang banging through the belts out of the ring, and then just stood there like they were ready to be. They want FTR. So, what do you think of this little thing after the little post match scrum? As we'll call it.
Okay, so see, I like the FTR is like, listen, you're not all in the same corner. You're actually got another member. Let's beat him up. And again, having up the match, actually making us think that there's a little bit of a doubt. I love the little part of the whole "don't touch my belt." Don't even know where that came from, but so Austin and Lord have mercy, don't tell me Juice was just like looking at it. And so yeah, they're a good, they're a fun team, and I just love and like I just let them have fun, let them wrestle, and just let's have a good time.
Yeah. It was next we had, it was time for the main event. Another Continental Classic match in the Blue League. It is your current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita, versus the leader of the I guess the leader of the Death Riders, the one and only Jon Moxley. Um, at this point, they both had 3 points. So the winner will have 6 points and get a leg up in the Blue League to a certain extent. I thought this was an extremely solid match. I was excited for this match. I like both of these guys. You know, I love both these guys. And they didn't disappoint. Um, Takeshita did get the pinfall with the Raging Fire Powerbomb, which I thought was interesting. Um, I guess this is a way to further continue Moxley's little spiral. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you can have a spiral, but with a guy like a Moxley who's so good, it's not just believable to lose all the time. So like he still has, and it's not like he's just lost. I mean, he has gotten some wins sprinkled in here and there, and I know it's to catch him, but like you just don't want to have him lose too much, too often, too fast because it is Moxley, and he should still be beating a large number of guys on your roster. So, but I thought this was great. I understand why Takeshita gets the win here. I'm not mad at it. And I thought that this was a very good match. I enjoyed all of this. And, you know, even though Moxley is not necessarily at the point where he's retiring in any way, shape, or form, but he does have, I think, fewer days ahead of him than behind him. And Takeshita is definitely the future. And it's not a passing of the torch moment, but it had a little bit of a feeling of here's the old guard, here's the new guard, see how good the new guard is. And you know what I'm saying? So I enjoyed
Yeah,
it. It was really good. And that was the end. That was the main event. So I thought this was a solid episode of Collision. I didn't have any problems with it. I want to give this episode like a B. I mean, I thought it was above satisfactory. It's better than a C. It had some very solid matches on it. I thought this was extremely good. I thought Roderick Strong versus Orange Cassidy was really good. The wrestling on the show was really good. I thought the promos were really good. So I'm going to give it a B. What do you think of this main event, and what are you giving the show for a grade? Or what grade are you giving the show?
this main event was very much so tasty. It was two of my favorite wrestlers today, and I absolutely loved it. I love when in the middle of it they're just like it's not even more so who like more so, the whole feat of strength thing, where it's like we get real New Japan strong style up in here. It's like why are y'all dudes? Why are you? Why does that be a thing of hey, hit me as hard as you can, and it's Moxley to catch them, so it's gonna be hard as hell. So it's like, but no, I loved it. It's either one of these matches where you really don't know who wins. I am very happy that Takeshita wins. The Dynamo Spiral of Jon Moxley. I, you know, I'm enjoying it more so because it's subtle, right? If you, like you said, he's not losing all the time, but when he loses, it makes it's a little dig into his confidence, and then you get a crazy butt crack, crazy promo afterwards, which is hilarious. So yeah, and to catch the, one of the stories of the classic is basically the Don Callis family having their own little competition up in here. So as of right now, tell me if I'm wrong, at least Takeshita and Fletcher were tied. I'm not sure about Okada, but I think
I think
Takeshita and Fletcher were tied.
9 points now, but I think because he has one extra match, if I'm not mistaken. I think.
Oh no, but he didn't win it yet. So yeah. So as of right now, yeah, it was a 3-way tie, and I love that little competition between the Don Callis family is very interesting. So this was a very great main event. Wording is hard. Collision overall was really good this week. I think more so because they were trying to hype Winter is Coming as much as possible, as well as the concept of Classic. And those are two things that need attention, and he gave it to us. So I'm going to say, right now, I'm trying to think. There is nothing egregiously wrong about this show. Like I'm trying to
I think it's questionably bad. Like sometimes there's stuff where you're like, was that bad? Was it? How bad was it?
right.
If there was anything bad on this show at all.
Right. So I might have to give, and then it ended high. Usually with Collision, and it just said it with Rampage that had the best match first, and then the last match is so. So it actually ended on a high note. So I'm gonna give it an A minus.
Ooh, she went A minus and I went B. All right. So that brings us to the conclusion of the AEW Collision review. And we will shift gears to AEW Dynamite, which means Miss Anika will take over the reins and lead us through AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming.
Hi. Okay, yeah. Winter is coming. And this was from December 10th. Okay, cool. Crazy enough, even though the 2-week build, Winter Coming is one of their top television shows for AEW. So the anticipation is there, and I was very much so excited for this. We start off with the finale of the women's tag team title tournament, which is Babes of Wrath, and I love that's how they start. That's their interest music, where it's Harley Babes of Wrath. You get into little. I love that. Versus the timeless love bombs of Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. And this was a good match. This was a very, very good match. One of the things, Harley is definitely getting her wrestle legs, where it's like okay, now we're seeing how good she is. More so, no, it's not a surprise anymore. Like, okay, she's actually now she's a solid wrestler, and we already know she has personality for it, so that makes for a great superstar. Willow, she listen. I know it's a tag team tournament, but this just showed why Willow should be women's world champion somewhere up in here. Sooner, they want a title, but I don't care. Sooner rather than later. Just her and Timeless Tony Storm in a ring together, and they're having dual chance of let's go Willow, Tony Storm. Like, I want to think about that. Like every time Tony went up against anybody, did anybody get dual chance? Since she's been Timeless Tony Storm, has she ever got dual chance from anybody? And I'm like, this thing should be noted. And more so, like, sorry, I'm going. This is the Willow segment. I don't care. And so, like, this more so, her clotheslining both of them. Of course, the pounce will always be awesome. I love the classic figure 4 leg lock, and when someone counters it, more so when Harley tried to counter it, Timeless Tony Storm came and rolled them back over, and then here comes Willow rolling back over, and then when they finally got back to where Mina was in control, and Tony Storm and Willow in there. Tony Willow got her. I mean, it wasn't a figure four. We're going to call it a -2, where she basically she had her leg hooked and she just started beating the crap out of Tony and started giving chops to Mina at the same time. Just like, I don't care if she's tag team champions. If Willow is not the one to develop Uncle Test Statlander, what are we doing? But I digress. So the ending came where Timeless Tony Storm, no, sorry. Willow gave a power bomb to Mina. 1, 2, 3. The new inaugural champs of the tag team division, Willow and Harley Cameron, the base of yes. Listen. I was very much so nervous because when you go up against Tony Storm, there is not even a hint of doubt. There's 65% chance that you're going to lose. So I was very much so surprised and very much so happy that they won this match. And this was a good match. I honestly, I kind of wish that it was the finale. Like, it was the end of Winter is Coming. But that's just a preference. But this was a great match. What your thoughts?
No, I thought this worked perfectly. I mean, for what it was a great match, and I'm glad that Harley and Willow got the win. I thought Willow looked great. Yeah, I mean, I agree 100,000,000% with you. If you're going to put the belt on Stat, you've got to put the belt on Willow at some point. I mean, those two are basically their biggest rivals, and one is not better than the. I think Willow's better than Stat, but I mean, in theory, one is not really better than the other. So, I mean, if you're going to give it to one, you've got to give it to the other. And with their rivalry and what they've done together, in theory, it would make sense for Willow to be the one to take that title off of Statlander here in the near future. So I'm all in for that. Willow is a main event superstar. She's proven it, and she should be AEW Women's World Champion. In the meantime, I'm extremely happy her and Harley are AEW inaugural Women's Tag Team Champions. I'm very happy for Harley, who is pretty new to our AEW
Yes.
sort of TV for us in general. And I think, she's young, so I think she's fairly new to wrestling. So this is a big, push for her and a big step for her. Luckily, she has Willow to help guide her through it and hold her hand a little bit, because Willow's been here for a while doing this. Willow's not that old and hasn't been around all that long either on my TV. So
I think she's still in her 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, and very happy. As much as I love Tony Storm and I'm Mina Shirakawa is growing on me, they don't need the belts. They're Tony is Tony Storm. She's we know who she is, and Mina's fine. They don't need the belts. It's someone like these guys that need the belts. So I was very happy with the outcome. Considering all the people in the tournament, it's definitely an accomplishment and a big vote of confidence from Tony Khan and AEW to put the belts on these two, because it was a stacked tournament. So definitely all in for all that. So I was very happy with all that.
Yeah. And so I love this, where it's like we're actually making it a big deal. We're after the match. Renee Paquette comes into the ring and she interviews Basil Rapp. How are you feeling right now? And Willow's like, "Wow, we won!" She was like, "I give it to Harley." Like, you can tell she's new, because it feels like every time Harley's in a big match, something gets busted open. It's like, how did you bust your lip? But for some reason, she like. And so, like, Willow's like, "That's not makeup." It said she's actually hurt, but she's still rock with us. I'm like, that looks like makeup. So like I'm not sure how that happened. Maybe she put more red lipstick on. She's like, "Listen, I know it probably will happen, so let me just put lipstick on to get to this. If it happens, I won't look as crazy." But she's like, "I'm so happy. I'm so great. Grateful to do this with Harley." And then Harley gets on the mic and she was like, "I am very ecstatic." She's like Willow was my second match, which is crazy. It's like, those were the days. Rampage. She was like, but now, like, fast forward, now it's me standing beside her, and no one thought we could do it. And I'm just, and it's like this is, and like they're just so happy. She's like, who are we, babe? What do we have? Rap, rap. And we're like, yeah. Now, I'm glad they zoomed in, because zoomed out. Tony Storm and Mina was in the ring. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why are y'all still in the ring? Get the freak up out of here, you love. they weren't doing anything. They were just holding each other while against her. I'm like, listen, I do that outside the ring. This is not your moment. But after they celebrated, Tony Storm and Mina gave him a handshake, gave him a hug. You can tell Tony Storm told Willow something that I knew that was probably personal. It was like, because you can like not to harp on Willow so much, but did Willow get a title match between Tony Storm and she was champ?
I don't think so.
She didn't.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Interesting. Just like this chick been champ twice. That was in no one's radar. Whatever. It's fine. Okay. Whatever. But no. I said to say this. I think Tony is a lover of women wrestling. So whatever she told Willow, it's like you can't tell me it wasn't encouraging. Like she knows Willow is a star, and she's like, and hopefully this is the first step to getting Willow where we would like her to be. And then of course they just celebrated on the ring apron, and it was a good time. It was all in our feels. Anything you want with this on the celebration and the speech?
Yeah, because I couldn't remember whether they had wrestled for the title when Tony had it. I googled it and it doesn't look like it. As best I could tell, it does not look like it because I don't remember it.
Boo.
Post match, this was fine. I mean, happy that they get the in-ring celebration at the time, which is the fitting moment. I'm always kind of irritated when we do the celebration, on the next show or a week later,
yeah,
whatever. So I'm here for celebrating that stuff in the ring when it happens at the time. I don't have any problem with Tony and Mina shaking their hands and all, giving him a hug. It worked fine. I mean, not that I expected Tony and Mina because they're not heels to do anything, but like, I don't want to say it's anticlimactic with the handshake because it's nice to show the respect, but like you're in the ring, you're face to face, it's like you almost want someone to get punched, but at the same time, you just had the match and it's over, and it's,
right?
I guess it is what it is, and to show the respect, unity in faces, right? And yeah, I have no idea what Tony said to Willow, but she definitely said something. Hopefully, it's this is your time, you deserve it, all those things, whatever she said. So. No, I'm here for all this. I thought this worked out really good, and I thought it made Tony and Mina, it solidified them as faces, even though Tony is what she is, right?
Yeah.
A good moment. They're respectful, all those things. So.
No, I think it would work better if they would have done it before the interview. Like let them shake their hands, hug, and then leave. I think that would have been a better yeah. Unless you're anticlimactic, like it wasn't needed. Like I'm not opposed to it, wasn't needed. But like if y'all had done it before the interview, it probably would have worked better. Like okay, there we go, yay. But all right. So moving forward, we have a little backstage promo with Samoa Joe and the Ops. Samoa Joe talking to Eddie. He's like, Eddie. You're talking about how you want the Samoa Joe of old to come back. I hate to tell this to you, but he has always been here. He has always been here. The man that you're going to face is the Samoa Joe of old, and he's going to show you why. As hard as you fight, you will never get this title from me. It's like, don't want to harp on it, but this is why. 2 weeks built isn't enough. Like here, like we're not the only ones who thought the in ring face to face with Eddie and Samoa Joe was just so, right? And it's like, and like it depends. If you're not a fan of these people and you walk in, it's like, yeah. But it's like if you're a fan, like what's the word? People think that Eddie's washed, right? Or but it's like, listen, number one, he's hurt. And this just proves that no, it wasn't anything wrong with the wrestlers or this feud. It just needed time. And that will always be the talk of wrestling, where it's like, how much time do you need to promote something? How much time can it linger before it comes too much? But 2 weeks is just not enough. If you don't have a backstory of 10 years ago, and 10 years ago it was an epic feud, 2 weeks is just not enough. And basic points of Eddie keeps a promo on Collision and Samoa Joe's promo right here is like, yeah, they're still who they are. And I was very excited for this match, even though it was only for 2 weeks. Your thoughts on the promo?
It's fine. Joe's a solid promo. He said all the things he needs to say. It hypes the match up for Winter is Coming, or for tonight's episode, or for the match later to come in this show. Yeah, I mean, classic Joe, sounded great and did what he needed to do. I we'll talk about it. I'll save my comments for when we get to the match. When we get to the match later in the show, but I thought this was fine for what it was. Joe is always a talker, and I always enjoy seeing Joe and hearing Joe.
Yeah. All right. Then we get another backstage promo with the Death Riders. And again, this is why the downward spiral, that's the downward spiral, Moxley is happening. It works for me because when he does promos like this, the side eyes between that the Death Riders give him are the best part of his promos. So he's like, listen, they like, yeah, okay, I lost you to catch that. And right now, our back's up against the wall. But you know what? I like it that way. It's like y'all don't think we're gonna fight. You don't think we're gonna work hard to do what needs to be done. It's like, listen, if you think that you can't win, if you can win after a couple of losses, well then you're lazy. It's like, dang, bro. It's like listen, but we are the best workers here. I don't do it for us. I don't do it for me. I do it for them. When I say them, they're just laying back, like, really, bro. You still like they're just sitting down like, bro, you acting like you lost, bro, and you did. Like I just love the expression. And so it's like, and we will work hard. And then Daniel Garcia comes about, yes, we will work hard. And we are the best workers in this whole company, Daniel Garcia. He's like, and that's why I'm going to beat Mark Briscoe for that TNT championship. Like, I don't want to put more fuel in the fire, but not sure this was a dual promo. I thought it was just Moxley. Not sure if Garcia interrupted because he was opposed to, or if that was just, I'm tired of listening to Moxley. But I love just the what if of the scenario, of the situation. But yeah, it's Moxley. It's a backstage promo with Death Riders. It's great. Your thoughts?
Again, it's fine. This is much like I felt about the Samoa Joe promo. Moxley is great when he talks. This was a good promo. I like him when he's very focused, and he was very focused here. And a little bit calmer, a little more reserved than just when he's bouncing around and kind of shouting. So, not to say that's not good too. And then, Daniel Garcia is getting better, right? They're giving him more opportunities to talk as a member of the Death Riders, it feels like. And I'm here for it. I mean, I've never necessarily been the biggest Daniel Garcia fan, but I'm willing to let him grow on me a little bit. And he's, now that he's with a solid group like the Death Riders, I'm curious to see what they can do as far as, continue to help his growth. So I thought this worked fine. Moxley is great, and the Death Riders are what they are. So I thought this worked well. And you're right, the little side eyes that he gets when he says certain things is classic. The body language of the Death Riders while he's spiraling is definitely interesting. That dynamic is kind of interesting because he's continuing to, stand in the lead position and be like, still the leader, but at the same time, they're looking at him like, bro, like, you're losing, and like, it's like,
you better be glad we're not jumping you. Yeah,
the legs that you're standing on aren't quite as sturdy as they once were, right? So,
yes,
so yeah, no, I'm definitely here for this. It's not just that. It's interesting that there's this kind of dual dynamic, right? Because you get the spiral of Moxley as an individual. He's lost the title, he's losing matches, he's had to tap out, and then you also get kind of this dynamic of him slowly what looks like maybe losing the reins of the Death Riders at the same time. Like, you don't it's not clear who's going to step up, but Claudio has that CMLL belt, and Daniel Garcia is getting better, and Pac is back, and so it's kind of this weird, and who knows? So, but it's interesting to have these kind of dual things going on, two ends of Moxley's kind of spiral. So, and how the Death Riders kind of deal with it, and they're dealing with it in a little bit different way than he is. He's trying to kind of make it downplay it, and they're like, well, you might even want to give it a little more heat. Like, they haven't said that, but the looks in their like faces, it's a little bit bigger a deal than you're trying to make it out to be. So yeah, no, I thought this worked really well.
Yeah, no. Like I think even though they don't say it, it feels like if you don't win, if you don't win, we jumping you. It's like if you don't win kind of the classic, you're done. It feels like every time he loses. But next we have the next match for the Continental Classic. So we're gonna try to remind people how much points they have, especially because this is probably their best tournament. In my opinion, this is the best tournament, better than even better than Owen Club, even Owen Club. That's just my 2 cents. Is this is the fourth or third time we've done this? I want to say the third time we've done this classic, but as of right now, it's still hidden. But yeah, and so
First one, yeah, because Okada won last year. Who won the first one?
the
Was it
first one was won by Eddie Kingston.
It was Eddie Kingston, yeah. So yeah, this is the
Yeah.
third. So this is the third year.
Okay, third year. Yeah. But I had to say this. So we're gonna make sure we're gonna get people up to speed when y'all watch us. Ting. So no. So as of right now, Okada has 3. It was Takeshita and Cal Fletcher with 6. And so the next match, which is what's next now, it was him versus a new add-on, Jack Perry to replace Darby Allin. And this was really, really good. I don't know if they gave Jack Perry more because they kind of knew that the disappointment, not because we don't like Jack Perry, but more so the disappointment of Darby not wrestling was just like, hey, go out there and just show, listen, no dude don't stop this show. You are not as good as Darby, but you can in the ring you are as entertaining. And so they gave not sure of Okada, this was Okada this or Jack Perry, but like Jack Perry had a whole lot of offense in here, and it's been a minute since Jack Perry had a solo. Also, that's probably more. We call it. That's probably more motivation as well. This is Jack Perry's first solo match in a while, so he did very much so well. One of the moments of the match was Okada was about to do a tombstone power driver, and Jack Perry got out of it by biting Okada in the dick. Now, I didn't know what happened watching this live. I just saw Okada holding Jack Perry and Okada going down and holding himself. And then it's like, I'm sorry, what happened? Yeah, how and then Danielson has issues. I like your issues, but Danielson has issues. This is just going but quite crazy on commentary. That's the best move, the best counter. No one has ever seen that in wrestling. I don't think we should. Some stuff I don't need to see in my wrestling, but it is what it is. But all in all, Okada wins with a rainmaker. 1, 2, 3. As of right now, for Darby to win, he had to win that match because he was 2 weeks he was 2 weeks behind, so he can't win the kind of the classic, but he can still I guess have a good showing. So like I said, great match, great showing of Jack Perry, but Okada is Okada. Your thoughts on the match?
I'm kind of surprised that after this, Jack Perry still sits at 0. But it is what it is.
Remember, this is his first one. This is his first match.
Yeah. Still, yeah, but I guess that's true. You're right. It is his first match, so I guess it is what it is. I guess because he filled in for Darby, so technically this is his first match. But he gets Darby's points, right? He doesn't get. I mean, if Darby had 3 points, would he have gotten those 3 points?
You would think, but no, you don't get Darby's points. So yeah, boo.
The match was solid. Jack Perry is. We talked about missing Darby in the Continental Classic because he's so electric and so must see. In the ring, in between the ropes, he's not quite as balls to the wall. Maybe as Darby is. Maybe not as carefree. But he's a very solid wrestler. I don't think there's a whole lot of downfall between the two. There's differences, but I don't think there's a whole lot of downfall. And Okada can have a solid match, even though I don't like him, can have a great match with anybody when he wants to. And it felt like he wanted to here. It felt like he's been in his Okada wants to be here bag and wants to perform bag more recently. So I'm good with that. And I, even though I thought that again, here I had a little bit of an issue with the ending just because I felt like they were coming close to the time limit, and
Yeah.
it ended kind of abruptly with the Rainmaker kind of out of nowhere. Not that he doesn't hit the Rainmaker out of nowhere often. It just felt like, and I get that the Rainmaker is his finishing move and that it's an impactful move. It just feels like, for me, the Rainmaker feels like a strong clothesline, and I just am never. The idea that a clothesline is finishing a match against a quality guy like a Jack Perry is just, it feels like the Rainmaker needs like a move before it or a couple moves leading up to it that make it so that, okay, now it's believable that a tough clothesline can finish the match, right? So, but in that regard, it is what it is. That's just my complaining and nitpicking. But I thought the match was really good. I thought Jack Perry looked very solid, and we'll see if he ends up getting some points in this tournament at some point. So, and Okada has
Yeah.
6 points again. So Okada and Takeshita are currently tied for points inside the Don Callis family's little, collision world. So that's very interesting. It'll be very interesting to see if they come out of this. I don't think either one's going to probably win, but it'll be very interesting to see if either one comes out with the same amount of points to further kind of this who's better, because that's clearly what we're into
Yeah.
at the moment. Like, who's better, right? And so, and I'm here for that. So, I mean, it's to catch it up, but I'm here for that. So,
Yep. Me too. Um. So after the match, the Don Callis family comes out to celebrate with Okada, but they hold they hold Jack Perry captive a little bit. Don Callis comes out and says, "Look, you know you lost, but Jack Perry, you are a stud." Okay. And it's like I see superstar written all over you. And I'm thinking now, maybe I made the wrong deal to the wrong person. It's like, so Jack Perry, I'm extending you an offer to join the Don Callis family. What do you say? And of course, a little bit of hesitation. Now look, now in 2 weeks, if you like, I would hate for something to happen to you with no protection. Like, sir, why is every freaking that's why nobody joins? Like, during the people does not get you what you want. And I would hate for you not to have protection. So what do you say? And of course, that's when all the Don Callis family members be all menacing and stuff. And so Jack Perry gets the mic and from the dick biting to this phrase, it's like, so we just said whether the freak we want to say. Jack Perry says, well, I think in time tonight, I'm gonna bite off more than I can chew, and it starts hitting people. I'm like, sir, pause. Just pause on the whole matter. Pause on what you just freaking said. Just pause, sir. And so then he gets the mic. He starts fighting the Don Callis family, but of course, I think they're all in the freaking ring with you. So it's like, I get it, but also let's use a little bit like I know they were kind of circling you, but there's a little interest between the ring. You can't just slide out and run. I prefer more people do that. Just like get the mic, hit him real quick, and then slide out. You can do that, but I get it. It's wrestling, whatever. So the beat down happens, and you hear Kenny Omega's music, but that was a distraction for the young folks actually come from behind and hit. No, sorry. You hear, sorry, I'm having a conversation with myself. Let me use my words and talk to you. Luchasaurus comes out, but it comes out to Jack Perry's. Well, yeah, it's Jack Perry's theme song. So that's a little tidbit. Like, no, the Jurassic Express, which is I know we know. Mark is in here. Mark's the person with them. I know he's not here, but theoretically, when they're together, it's Jurassic Express. So it's like, if at least use Jurassic Express or Luchasaurus' own theme song. Like, that's just like a little tidbit. Like, no, like the belongs to Jack Perry. That's just me. So he comes in. And he distracts the Callis family while the Young Bucks come from behind with chairs and start clearing out the ring. And the elite adjacent team stands tall. Ting. And that was the end of the segment. What do you think about this segment after the match?
It's fine. I mean, Jack Perry. Listen, it makes perfect sense from Don Callis's perspective. If you're the Don Callis family, think of it as a sports team or as a school that's fielding a sports team. You want to recruit the best players you can recruit or the best athletes you can recruit. You want everybody on your team so your team is the best. At the same time, I'm getting a little tired of every single time Don Callis wrestles somebody. It's like, oh, we're going to offer him a spot in the Don Callis family. Like, it gets to be a little much after a while, not to mention, heaven forbid everyone actually took him up on his offer. We'd have 8,000 people in the Don Callis family. Like, so, I mean, it gets a little old as a storyline. That being said, Jack saying, I bit off more than I can chew for the second time tonight and going at it, that's it shows courage, I guess. I mean, it's all kayfabe, but it shows kayfabe courage, right? And at least he stands tall. And then we get Luchasaurus, and then we get the Young Bucks. So we get to see that the Young Bucks are definitely not, they're definitely against the Don Callis family now. They've now taken a stand against them as opposed to just, we're kind of whatever. They said no, and now they've taken a stand. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. My guess is that we're looking at a multi-man match here. It's going to be probably the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express versus 4 members of the Don Callis family, however that works out at some point, I would think. I mean, I don't know. But that feels like what the storyline is kind of trending towards. And, we're due for some sort of a stadium stampede match or anarchy in the arena. So it seems likely that that's what this might devolve into, which I'm, I guess I'm here for that. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of what happened in between the little feud. Before he gets super kicked, it was the Keshta that took the kick for Don Callis when he was about to ring by himself with Young Bucks, Jack Perry, just a little, we call it just a little tip on the nose. You want Sal Okada? He didn't take a super kick. It was a super kick. It was a super kick with the Young Bucks. One of the regular, like that thing would have hurt. And
listen, Takeshita was the first member of the Don Callis family.
He was,
and it feels like Takeshita is there because he actually believes in Don Callis and what he
right.
Okada is simply there because, like, it feels like there's a genuine relationship between Don and Takeshita. It doesn't feel the same. I feel like Okada's a hired mercenary where Takeshita is the guy that, is the main focus of the team. So it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
He's kind of the team, and Okada's like the mercenary that they brought on.
Like, I know Don Callis is a bum, but just once, for every person that to be a bum too, and even with Kenny Omega, it's like, don't be a bum to catch the play. Like, please just do the right thing. I don't know. I say that and I know it's not going to happen. That's why I stopped saying it. But a side note, the money that they won from the money tournament was in the ring. So Young Bucks got their money, yay! But I digress. More to that to come later on in the night.
I think the meat on the bone, though, is Don Callis turning on Takeshita, because it feels like there is that Takeshita has that kind of love for Don Callis, and Don Callis saying, oh, it's not about that. It's about money, and it's about, who can whatever and all those things, and choosing Okada over Takeshita because for whatever reason. It feels like that's where the meat on the bone is. And then Takeshita can become a face like he should be and be a good guy like he should be. But we'll see. That's kind of where it feels like it's going, and I'm here for that. So
yeah. Whenever they finally pull the trigger on Takeshita versus Okada, I think Don Callis has to make his decision during the match. Like, don't make a decision before or after. During the match, that's when it's gonna be the biggest, like, yeah, like yay or boo. It's probably gonna be boo because it's Don Callis. Either way, moving on. So again, if you did not watch Collision, because most of you don't, and you should, because this is a show, we get a little bit of a replay of the, Mercedes Moné being a little perturbed that she lost her Ring of Honor World Championship. She did win against Layla Gray, but after that, she was shouting into the she got the commentator mic from Tony Schiavone, and she was like, "Say it, say I'm the best wrestler of all time, say it." So like she's still, the confidence is wavering right now. And in the video package, they're like, "Where does Mercedes Moné go from here?" And that is a solid question. Like, I think we were all very much so surprised they were doing Statlander versus Mercedes so soon after Tony Storm, because it is like, listen, we get like we're here for the idea of making Statlander a like, listen, she won the title, she is our champion, but it is like, what happens now? With Statlander, she has two opponents, and so she has so she's actually straight. Whereas like she has more fuel in her title reign. But Mercedes Moné, it is like, what does happen? Like, of course, she does have the 12 titles, but if you're like me, who's lazy in watching her wrestling, I'm not going to watch the other, I'm not going to watch the other promotions to see her lose. No offense. Not because she's losing, just because I just don't venture off. Like, I'm not gonna watch CMLL, and CMLL is hot right now. So more so with TNA, her TBS championship, who will be her next competitor? We really don't know. So that'll be a nice little, if they figure out where they want to go, that'll be a nice little story. But right now it is like, what does happen now? Any thoughts on this question?
I mean, I just think this only really works. Like, the whole purpose of showing a Mercedes Moné video of bad beats, or like, her losses, is to show, like, is to kind of, I guess, create this kind of spiral thought that we have with Hangman, or that we have with Moxley too, to a certain extent. So I guess that's what we're trying to. It feels like we're trying to further that to a certain extent, and it feels like, even though it's not, it feels like this video would get under Mercedes' skin. Like, it almost feels like Mercedes should come back and say, "Why did Tony play that video? Like, why do we have that video?"
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I'm Mercedes. I shouldn't be. Why are you showing me losing matches? Like, so it's very interesting to me. It feels like that's the story they're trying to dictate, which is fine. I question, using the same trope for different wrestlers at the same time. We already have Moxley kind of spiraling. He lost his title. Do we need to see him? Yes, ultimately, I think for Mercedes Moné, there's more meat on the bone with her having a long-term spiral and losing most of those championships, if not all of them, again at some point. It's just a matter of doing them both at the same time. It feels like you're copying, to a certain extent. It feels like, you're not allowing one to just have the kind of organic original story. Not that it's original, the trope's been used many times, but just so. But
Yeah.
it's fine. So, but it feels like this video felt to me like they're clearly trying to push this concept of Mercedes slipping and a spiral for her. So,
slipping into darkness. But no, I love that. If that is the case, that would be so good. If she does come out, it goes back crack crazy again. But then, like, right. But then we have another interview with Vanessa Kent with Eddie Kingston. Like, how do you feel about the match tonight? And he's like, listen, I know my back's up against a wall, but I'm gonna do. I can't guarantee I'm gonna do the best I can to. And listen here, Samoa Joe. I'm coming for that title. Yeah, short and sweet and good. Again, it's like, I appreciate them trying to hype this, even though we're here, trying to hype this up as much as we can before we get to the main event. Any thoughts on the promo?
I appreciate what you're saying, and that 2 weeks isn't enough time, and that they're continuing to try to hype it up. It feels very crammed. Like, it not only is 2 weeks not enough time of a build, but it feels like they're trying to cram in too much in that 2 weeks too. Like, 2 weeks isn't a lot of time, but you could still let it breathe. Like, it felt like the promos on Collision were enough. I don't know that we needed them a second time here again, because they're essentially the same promos that they gave on Collision on Saturday night. So I get you're trying to hype up the match for tonight, but we're about to see the match. Let us just have it. Let it breathe from the promos from last week, because they didn't do anything. There's nothing different here tonight. There's nothing new and exciting. It's basically just the same thing. Joe says, you wanted the Samoa Joe, be careful what you wish for. And Eddie's saying, hey, I'm coming for the title. I mean, it's the same thing basically said on Collision. So I just, not that they're not fine promos. I just didn't, it just felt like it's it's too crammed even for 2 weeks, even though you need the build. Like there could have been another way to do this. Like Joe and Eddie have had other instances in the past in AEW. Like you could have just shown a video of those. You don't necessarily have to have both of them doing a promo again, or you could have a video package of each, kind of whatever the case may be, as opposed to doing essentially the same promos again that you did on Collision.
I agree. Agreed. I totally agree with you. All right, and then we have an in-ring segment with Tony Schiavone and our TNT champion Mark Briscoe, them boys. And so, and basically, like Tony Schiavone's like, I know you what you heard with Garcia still in the back. Do you have any thoughts on your championship match with Daniel Garcia coming later on? And he's like, you know what? I know when I got here, it was a whole lot of talk of Mark Briscoe can't get it done in the ring. People in the back were saying it, and people in my ear were saying it. But as of right now, as you can see, I got this shiny piece of metal right here to prove them all wrong. And we're here in the great state of Atlanta. Side note, Atlanta was very good. Was a very good crowd. But I'm not. Why am I surprised? It's Atlanta. It feels like, and crazy enough, I want to say the last time anyone had a pay-per-view there or premium live event was 2 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat or back way, but I want to say the last time was Dolores. Dolores, if you're here, because I know you definitely know. I want to say the last time was when they did Cody Rhodes, and it was an old AEW trope. So yeah, that was crazy. But so basically, Mark Briscoe's hyping himself up. He's like, Saturday on Collision, me and Daniel Garcia gonna come up. I'm gonna eat him alive. And then here comes the music. Well, not music. Here comes the Death Riders, aka just Wheeler Yuta, Marina Shafir, and Daniel Garcia. And don't know why, but it's actually Yuta that's speaking first to Mark Briscoe. I'm like, no, like, why are you talking? This ain't even about you. Why? Like, if you're here for backup for Dan Garcia, cool. But why are you even talking first? Like that going it. And so, but man, Yuta is a certified heel because he comes out and the boos come in and he's like, stop embarrassing yourself. Stop embarrassing yourself. This little, just because you're the little darling of AEW doesn't mean that you're deserving of that championship. Look at you. You're an embarrassment. Your crooked teeth and like hold on, wait. Y'all got personal for no good reason. Listen, when push comes to shoves, you're gonna chicken out. And doesn't it make sense because your family? Oh, the chicken farm. Hold up. I don't understand why left means. I don't know why left means right. Because my family actually have a freaking business that still stands to this day over 20 years, probably longer than that running. I tell my shit. I'm like but he was being a heel alive. And then Garcia finally gets the mic. Stop being a punk. And then so basically they're just trying to egg Mark Briscoe on to come up. Listen, even though you have that title, you're not going to keep it for very much so long because you don't have it in you. You don't have the guts to hit me in the face. Don't know who you thought you were talking to. Mark Briscoe hit him square in the face, and I love the whole bravado of Daniel Garcia had to be held back by Yuta and Marina. I'm like, number one, it's 3 against 2. I mean, it's 3 against 1. So, why are we holding him back? Why are we holding him back? Why aren't we beating up Garcia? Maybe because y'all just wanted to save it for Collision, which is fine by me. But yeah, the whole visual of Yuta and Marina trying to hold Daniel Garcia back. I'm like, listen, I don't buy this for a freaking minute. And yes, Mark Briscoe is that dude, but it's like, what the freak, bro? Like, Garcia, stop. Like when you have that friend, hold me back, and you let him go. Like, bro, I told you to hold me back. That's what it feels like. That's what it felt like to me personally. But I do appreciate that they're having this up for Collision, And this was a very, very good promo for this match. Your thoughts?
Excuse me. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I Mark Briscoe is always a solid promo. I'm always a little disappointed when the best thing that they can come up with is kind of the low hanging fruit, missing teeth and being a redneck and the chicken stuff. Like you can come up with more original stuff than that. There's plenty of other
Like,
things.
come on.
But that's classic wrestling, and it's very classic AEW at this point. Even though it's only been around for a while, we're getting to AEW's been around long enough where we can say that this is kind of a classic AEW thing now. No, it's fine for what it is. I'm excited for this match. I'm a little leery just because I feel like Daniel Garcia's been around for a minute and maybe hasn't gotten the due he's deserved in some people's eyes. And now he's with the Death Riders and they like to do all sorts of stuff as a group. And I just am scared for Mark Briscoe's title. I don't think that they would take it off of him this fast, but I think they're pushing Daniel Garcia pretty heavy and putting a belt on him and him potentially being the only member. Well, I guess Claudio has a CML belt, but the only member of the Death Riders to have a current AEW championship could be a very interesting wrinkle for Death Riders and just help continue to keep them maybe at the top of the pile. So I'm very nervous for Mark Briscoe's championship here. It feels like there's more legs for the title and AEW with Daniel Garcia as a member of the Death Riders, which is their premier faction, having the title. At the same time, I don't want Mark Briscoe to not or to lose the title, and I like Mark Briscoe with the title, and I think it's good for AEW because I think it shows guys that maybe it shows the wrestlers for sure that maybe haven't always had an opportunity that at AEW you might get that opportunity or you have a better chance of getting that opportunity, and two for the fans that have been Briscoe's fans or fans of the underdog to a certain extent, the guys that are never quite get their due. Um, so in that regard, it would be disappointing. I think it's good for AEW that Mark's the champion. I just worry that because of the push they've been giving Daniel Garcia, and he's a member of the Death Riders, and the way they all like to show up and help each other, that I could see this becoming a situation where they cheat to take the belt off of Mark Briscoe and put it on Daniel Garcia. So I'm a little leery for that.
I feel like you did a better job having this matchup than they did. I listen. Not even like they're doing a bad job, but I mean more so like before you started saying stuff, I'm like, no, the foregone conclusion, and now it's like, if Daniel Garcia wins, I'm blaming you. Okay, like none of that was in my brain until you said all of that, which does make a slight bit of sense. So if he wins, I ain't blaming the wise man, ALW. All right, and now we have the Triangle Madness backstage again, just beating up random people for no good reason, because I guess you're the Triangle Madness, blah blah blah. But here comes Statlander to fight them off, and somehow 3 against 1, she did it. I mean, at the end she got a chair, but she didn't use the chair. So I'm like, hey, hold up, time out. Listen, I get Statlander to champ, but it's still 3-on-1. The math ain't mathing, so yeah, I am a little perturbed that she ran off 3 chicks by herself. Just saying, but whatever. Your thoughts on any of this?
I know that you mentioned that we're due for it because they definitely have been having a feud. I know that you mentioned Thekla versus Hayter, but I honestly think that the direction that we're going seems to be Thekla versus Statlander because Thekla's the biggest member of that group. She's the only one that would, at this point, be worthy, in my opinion, of a title shot. And
100%.
them are having definitely they're having a feud. It's definitely Stat versus the Triangle of Madness. There's a feud there. So I have a feeling we're getting Thekla versus Statlander for the title soon, which is fine. I'm here for that. I think it's very interesting that you make Stat look that strong. You're running off all 3 members, essentially, especially when you've been pushing Thekla and making her look pretty tough. So it's kind of interesting that she got ran off as well and that all 3 of them got ran off. It doesn't necessarily do a whole lot to necessarily boost Thekla's profile for a title match with Statlander, but again, Thecla's been around already long enough that she's shown what she can do. So I don't know that this definitely has a negative impact, but yeah, I mean, it's fine for what it was. But I agree with you. It was a little odd that she ran off all three of them. I didn't think it made them look in the strongest position where they could have. And, it makes that look very strong, which is fine, but she's never quite looked that strong, right? So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. So, okay. I mean, she's your women's world champion, so I get it. And at the same time, it's like it still has to be somewhat believable, right? Make it make sense. Make it be somewhat believable, right? And this was a
Like,
little unbelievable.
at least come in with a weapon before, like come in with a wrench and just start breaking people like that. But your two own bare hands, you just handling chicks like this, like that, like she Debo. Uh,
Yeah.
but here comes our next match. It listen. So you tell me if you knew what the stipulation was for this match before. Cause I'm like,
Not
I heard tornado tag. Okay, here comes the op for. It's officially the ops versus Hangman and Swerve. But I heard tornado tag. Okay, so but the ops are in the ring with their dojo, and here Hangman is up top and Swerve is up top. So they send the JoJo people out to confront them. They see smart baby faces. They had weapons with them. That's how they beat everybody. They used the chain to start sticking out the dojo. And of course, Swerve had his handy duty what you call it? Handy duty nail gun with them. And then that's when what you call it? Shibata and sorry, brain fart all over the place. Shibata and Hobbs come in and start fighting outside the ring, and then weapons just happen. I'm like, so hold on, wait, is this a no DQ? Tornado tag? Like, what's happening? So I think what happened was they're just fighting outside, and then in the ring when the bell rang, that's when it finally became a tornado tag, which was again, I'm like, and I guess because commentary was confused, it confused us. Cause I think Danielson was like, well, what? Like, this is a tornado tag, right? And I guess they're like, no, they're just fighting all over the place. So that was a little side step of, okay, so what is this match per se? Did you know did you know what's going on, or were you confused as me?
I was very confused. I was extremely confused. And not only was I confused, but the tornado. I mean, you already have multi-men in a match, which is kind of difficult to watch. I mean, it's only a tag team match, but it's already. And then when it's a tornado match, there's so much going on. It's like so. Yeah, I mean, and then when you don't even make it clear what is going on exactly, and when your announcers don't know what's going on, it feels a little disconnected. So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, the bell rings for officially the tag team tornado match inside the ring. Um, like you, I don't know what to expect because this is the first time Hangman and Swerve are a tag team officially. So in my mind, I would love just a little bit of will they, won't they? I don't need a lot, but just a moment of we're finally getting on the same page in the match. It's just me. But the ops were phenomenal. I wasn't a New Japan fan, but I like if you were in the chat, tell me, was Shibata a heel? Because like he has been healing it up in his Shibata way, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Like him saying I don't hear the crowd, and him just posturing all over the place. I'm like, Shibata, sir, take several seats. Stop it. But yeah, and of course him and Hobbs are just like at one point in time we're just dominating when Swerve was out for a minute, but Swerve got back into the ring and started doing the Swerve and Heyman are doing this dual tag team action. And it was one time, and there's one moment in the match where they just look at each other, they're just breathing heavy. And I'm like, what's going on? Are y'all shocked? Y'all are tag teaming, or are y'all mad? Y'all are tag teaming. I don't understand the whole looking at each other and breathing heavy. The adrenaline. Well, what's going on right now in this moment? Basically, it ends with a buckshot lariat and a house call. 1, 2, 3. Swerve and Heyman win. It makes sense because it is Swerve's first match back, and it is a trios match. It's a tag team match, and the Ops got beat by two former heavyweight champions. So I will allow it. This was a fun time for Wisher is coming. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I thought this was a lot of fun. As you said, the reality is that, the AEW, man of the hour, Hangman Page, and Swerve Strickland, who is definitely, a main event superstar, probably they're always, every day of the week and twice on Sunday going to beat Powerhouse Hobbs and unfortunately some Shibata at this point, just the way they book them and all those things. So the outcome definitely didn't surprise me. I kind of wanted, yeah, I mean, I thought they should have had a little bit more, especially with as tense as the feud was, as intense as the feud was between
Yeah.
and like there should have been a little bit more kind of hesitancy to just get in the ring and be tag team partners. I mean, they had the moment that you said where they looked at each other all face to face, breathing heavy, but nothing really happened. And it is what it is, and it's fine. They should get this win here. The match itself was a little hectic to watch. Not totally sure exactly what's going on all the time, but the right men got the win, and we'll see what ends up happening. I'm assuming that they're not long in the tooth for sticking together. I mean, they're not, these two men hate each other, right? Like after the stuff that you've done to each other, like the fact that even coexist at all is a little bizarre to me. So, but I guess it is what it is. So I thought this was fine for what it was. I guess it's because it's against Hobbs and Shibata. It feels a little, and not that everything has to be a big deal, but it feels a little weird to have two of your current, biggest mega stars, faces of the company, on the middle of a Dynamite show. Like again, you're wrestling Hobbs and Shibata, and I get it. Joe's not in the match. It's it is what it is, but it just feels a little bit bigger than being in the middle of a Dynamite. It is Winter is Coming, so it's a special show, so I guess that's enough. But it just felt a little odd placing them there. That's all.
Yeah. No. But nice little note. We had Josh Alexander watching afterwards, and again, we're all hyped for whenever they want to pull the plug on that. Like, we're going to say it's him versus Swerve, right? So that'll be a nice little aftermath. Like right now, even though I think we all agree that it's going to be eventually Swerve versus Samoa Joe. You shouldn't do it right now. Like give it like maybe a couple more weeks and then do it. So in the meantime, between that'll be a nice little feud. I concur. But all right, so next we get another backstage segment with Don Callis, and of course he's healing it up, talking about Young Bucks. Possession is 9/10 of the law. You stole my money. You stole my money from me. Like, hold up, wait. I get Josh Alexander had a cut, but it was Young Bucks that were also in there. So it's like I don't understand. I don't understand the math, sir. All that money wasn't yours. They actually took back their share of it. I'm pretty sure y'all spent on a party or something, but I digress. And so and I was fully prepared to drag you through court and have immediate cases and send you to the poorhouse. But I have a Don Callis family. I have the best of the best talent. I have Okada. I have Cesaro. So how about next week in Manchester, I get 3 of my guys, and you 2 idiots get one more person tagged with you, and winner takes all. Okay. Like, listen, it is $1 million. So it isn't going to be a big match for those purposes. As a normal person, I'm like, now I'm calling the cops. I don't understand. But you're a heel. You're like, it's just like, I like, money matches are so stupid. But no. So evidently, we're going to get that match sooner or later. We'll talk about the other segment. No, screw it, because I get confused. So fast forward, Young Bucks are like, you know what? We accept, and like we're gonna get a third man. They go to Luchasaurus, like, hey, what's up, big man? How about you? And so he says, like, he didn't like didn't we hear Luchasaurus talk 3 years ago when I thought when Dynamite first happened, so the whole him being he had speak thing, I'm like, we've heard you talk before. This is stupid. But either way, he just points to Kenny Omega's room, and so the Young Bucks goes to Kenny Omega, and they're like, "Hey, will you mind tagging with us? How you mean up in the line?" And so Kenny was like, "Nah, I don't need that money. I'll do it for free. The amount of what it comes down to is Don Callis, and basically, I want to be his behind." So it's like, so next week, us three versus Don Callis family, let's do it, and screw all that crap. As I say, I do, mwah, and goodbye, bang, let's go. And so we're actually going to get that match next week. I feel like that should be the end of the feud. It's like after next week, when eventually whoever wins, I'm going to assume the Young Bucks and Kenny win the money. Let's part ways from this feud, right? It's run its course. We've done a thing. Let's do something else different. But I'm excited for next week though. I am. But what do you think about all of this? Don Callis initiating the challenge, Young Bucks accepting, all that good stuff.
I think it's interesting. I mean, it'll be a very solid match. There's going to be a lot of guys in the ring that can really wrestle. I'm happy that it's Omega. Not that I have any issue with Luchasaurus, but Omega's the right person for this spot because he actually
Right?
is involved in the story. Not that Luchasaurus and Jurassic Express aren't, but it just feels like Kenny's much more involved. So it feels like the right spot. Plus, seeing the Elite back together again, the Bucks and Omega is always fun. I'm curious to see what ends up ultimately becoming of this because I know you said that this should be the end of it, and maybe with the Bucks and Callis, it should be. The reality is, Callis is never going to leave Kenny Omega alone, and that's going to be long term. And that's going to be forever, as long as they're both, whatever in wrestling. I think at this point, until they decide to do something different, either come back together. But like right now, I don't see Don Callis ever not talking shit about Kenny Omega, never not trying to take Kenny Omega out if he's around. So I don't think Omega versus Callis is going anywhere. And I think that at this point, Omega owes Callis a little bit of payback. So I think we're
A
gonna have
little?
some Kenny Omega versus Don Callis family members, and eventually Kenny's gonna get his hands, I think, on Don Callis. That's the juicy part to me. Like, I don't know what that looks like, but somewhere down the road here. So I think we're a long way away from Kenny and Don being over. But as far as this every single week, this stuff with Don Callis trying to recruit the Young Bucks or dealing with the money or now being against them, yeah, I mean, this should probably be the end of that. The Young Bucks can go on and do something else at this point. I don't think it's anywhere near the end of Omega versus Callis, though.
Yeah. All right, and then next up, we're going to get, in my opinion, the best backstage promo of tonight, which is Stokely Hathaway. And basically, he was like, listen, Bang Bang Gang, you got a little handsy with the best tag team alive. You got a little handsy with their belts. And last week, me and FTR had an epiphany that people think that the narcotics is the best drug, is the worst drug addiction on earth, but it's not. It is TV time. People get in front of a TV and then they're deserving of things. So bang bang gang, you got in front of a freaking television and you thought that you deserve to be in a match with the best tag team alive. But you know what? Today's your lucky day. Next week in Manchester, it will be we're going to grant you your challenge. FTR versus Young Bucks for the TNT titles. And when FTR beats you, you're probably going to cure you of that addiction. Top guys, I'm like, listen, this is why you pay people the big bucks. Short and sweet, effective, and to the freaking doggone point. Thank you. Now, granted, we all knew it was coming, but it was like, it just wasn't official. Like they actually said, like, okay, officially we're doing it. Cause I actually thought before they said that they were gonna be on Saturday, but I guess they're like, no, let's give it, one more AEW show before we do it. And I'm finally here. I'm here for that. I'm okay with that because Manchester is one of their top places to go to. But this was a very effective backstage promo. Your thoughts?
Stokely's always great, right? Stokely, that's what he does. He's a great talker, and I'm always here to listen to Stokely. I find it, don't get me wrong, there have been plenty of guys that have created a Hall of Fame career from being a manager. It's a little, I often feel like it's unfortunate that Stokely doesn't wrestle because he in theory, if he could wrestle, if he was a little bit bigger, if he could wrestle, wanted to wrestle, like he could be a megastar because he has
Yeah.
those kinds of tools. But he's, I don't know if it's size, I don't know if it's his desire, if he's just not, whatever the case may be. He's determined he's best as a manager, and that's fine. It's interesting to me to think about maybe what could have been with a guy like him because he has a lot of tools that if he could wrestle, it'd be like that he could be a superstar. So no, Stoke is great. I'm here for this match. And I think putting it in on Dynamite in Manchester is probably a little bit better than doing it on Collision, especially because everyone knows Collision is already pre-recorded, and the idea is that
Yeah.
if you're gonna pre-record stuff, it's tough when it's title matches, right? Because that stuff leaks.
Yeah.
I don't see it, but people do. It gets out, right? So
Right.
and it takes away from it. So when it's title shots, I definitely feel like the title shots need to be done in real time on live TV because otherwise it's just too. So that being said, I'm glad they moved it to Dynamite, and I think the match should be solid. Again, FTR is going to get the win, but should be solid. And you're right, brief to the point, get in, get out, be done with it, say what you need to say. And Stokely's amazing. So
Yeah. All right, and next we have our final Continental Classic match for tonight. It is Speedball Mike Bailey versus nope, not doing it because we're thinking Kyle Fletcher. Your full name will not be said out of my mouth. I'll be said like this. Yep, you're doing it. All right. So now officially we went through Collision here. It is now officially a 3-way tie between Takeshita, Okada, and Cal Fletcher for 6 points. If Fletcher wins this, he will be back in the lead with 9 points. And Speedball, who has not had any points yet, just want to be on the leaderboard. But this made for a very tasty match. Now, we've been singing the high praise of Kevin Knight in this tournament for a good reason because he's been doing a phenomenal job. But we haven't Speedball has not had that breakout match yet. Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Him and Cal Fletcher just went balls to the wall, basically, and I loved every minute of it. It's crazy, right? Because 2 weeks, like 2 weeks into the tournament, it was like, is Speedball like we forgot how good he was in TNA because of how he was positioned. I don't even think it was a Speedball doing anything different. It was just how he was positioned on AEW. It's like, is he ready? And it's like, let me reintroduce myself. And so one of the top moments was him doing the knees, the flip over knees right into freaking Fletcher's face during the ring apron. It was like, was that necessary? Dang! And they were just basically just every move they made to a point felt like a freaking gunshot, or just like basically. And then it was a whole lot of freaking near falls. And then you hear in the horn, and I can hear it. Like usually I don't hear it, but I heard it this time. 10 minutes away, and basically, if it's a draw, it's only 1 point per person, but draws are like kissing your sister or your cousin. No one wants that. So we're getting down to the wire, and it's like in my mind, I'm like, draws are. I'll applaud you, AEW. You haven't done a draw in a very long time, so I applaud you for holding back. But it's like they're meant to be for important moments, and in my mind, I'm like, I want to do a draw between Fletcher and Speedball. I'm like, I want to do that, but crazy enough, they did it with a wrestling move of basically Speedball hooking both of his legs over Fletcher. 1, 2, 3. Speedball beats Cal Fletcher in the Continental Classic match, and Fletcher told the crowd, Fletcher's like, that did not just happen. And Speedball got out of the ring, and Kevin Knight, being the good tag team partner, he is like, yes, you won! You beat that fool! Let's go! And so, the moment was just like, for me, it was just like, oh, okay. I was all here for Fletcher being undefeated until the semifinals slash finals. I thought that's where we were going. I did not think they were going to let him get beat by Speedball. That was just my opinion. I'm not mad at it. It was just like, oh, that's a choice. But all in all, this was a very tasty match. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about last week when Kevin Knight, showed out. I was talking a little bit about it looked like Kevin Knight was a little bit ahead of Speedball and looked like, the maybe the slightly better wrestler at the moment, even though Speedball is, we know what he can do. I thought tonight Speedball showed us why he is, you know, so over and so popular amongst fans and stuff. This for me, this was definitely his biggest win in AEW because it's Kyle Fletcher, and Kyle Fletcher has been such a big deal recently. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this might have been his best AEW match to date. Mike Bailey, I thought he looked really, really good here. And
Yeah,
I think it's a testament again to how good Kyle Fletcher is because Kyle Fletcher is not having bad matches with anybody at this
he
point.
is not.
He is not. Every match he puts on at this point is a banger. And so between the two of them, they put on a great show. And I'm very surprised that Bailey got the win here. It's good for Mike Bailey to get the points here. If you're gonna get a win over Kyle Fletcher in a round robin tournament where you steal a victory and just get a couple points and not a whole lot more over Kyle Fletcher, that's the right spot for something like this to happen and for Fletcher to take kind of a fluke loss. If it was for actually something important, not to say that this isn't important, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was a little bit closer point wise, it might be whatever. If this was the semifinals, it would be very weird for Bailey to be winning. But early on, Bailey needs some points. Kyle Fletcher, can get caught just like everybody else, even though he's amazing in the future of AEW at the moment. Like, he's not infallible, right? There are moments where he's going to still lose at times and he's going to have to take a loss periodically. And I thought this was a good time to take the loss. Like, it felt like it looked like
Yeah,
Kyle Fletcher was willing almost to, he wanted the win, but as time got close, it looked like he was almost willing to take the draw to a certain extent and kind of just get away with the 1 point and call it good. And Bailey was like, nah, I'm getting this victory in the very last seconds. And he pulled it out in the last minutes, which was nice. I don't have any problem with draws, especially in the Continental Classic, because there is a time limit. But I'm glad that Bailey got the win here and that they didn't do the draw. I thought this worked out very well.
yeah. No, yeah, totally agree with you. It's more so like with draws, like I just feel like those are special moments, and it's just like, yeah, no, not here. But we have backstage from Nippercat with a winning Hangman from the match before, and so Nippercat was like, "So you won your match with Hangman versus the Ops. What is next for you?" He's like, "What's next for Renee? It's obvious. The AW World Championship. It's always been that has always been obvious." He's like, "So after this match, whoever wins, Eddie or Joe, Winter's World's End, I'm coming for my title." Like, hold up, wait. We just reviewed Collision, and that is what Mr. Man said, Mr. Swerve. Now, and so it's like, so they're not like, like we're not dumb. Everybody wants to be champ, but it is like, hold up, wait. So why? So what's going to happen when y'all finally collide? I am here to run back the match from 2 years ago, or it was Samoa Joe versus Heyman versus Swerve. If y'all want to run that back, I'm all here for it. I would very much so appreciate that. Not sure that's exactly the move, but for World's End, I wouldn't have been mad at it at all. That's just my opinion. But any thoughts on this backstage interview?
I'm not sure that it's the right decision, but it feels like that's where we're headed. I'd be very surprised if we don't get a triple threat at World's End. The last one was solid, and I think this one would be solid as well. You definitely have Swerve and Hangman both looking at that title. They both want it. Joe's got it. And it'll be very interesting to see because at the moment they're kind of friendly because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, but Swerve and Hangman definitely don't like each other. We know that. And it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening when they're both trying to get a piece of Samoa Joe at the same time, or whoever the champion is, being that we're about to have a championship match here in the main event of this episode. So yeah, I thought this was fine. I thought this worked well for what it was, and yeah, I mean, Hangman is a solid promo. I'm not always fond of like the tenor of his voice. Sometimes gets a little much for me, but he's always a solid promo with the words that he says. So, and he's always good at the promo. Like he doesn't stumble. He's articulate. He says what he needs to say. He gets it out. It sounds good. All those things. Sometimes I'm just not the biggest Hangman fan. That's just my personal feeling about it. So, but no, I mean, this is good for what it was.
So anyway, yeah. And so we talked about the whole Young Bucks asking Kenny. They're gonna be in the trios next week. But now it's time for the main event: Samoa Joe versus Eddie Kingston. It's a fight. I know. We are here, and there were no doubts that the match was going to be fire. It was just getting there was just like could have been better. But this match was great. I think like didn't know how severe Eddie's knee injury was, but we did know that he was out for a year and a half, which is crazy. So, although I wanted him to just spring back into where I thought he was supposed to be, I know they wanted to slowly move him in, just make sure he's ready to be in the main event role. And this match kind of proved that okay, I think we're at 80% vintage Eddie Kingston, where it's like, okay, now we're firing on higher cylinders. Let's get to it. So the match start, they're filling each other out. It is a big match feel. Freaking Hook, you poor baby. He gonna try to cheat early. The freaking ref saw you, and so he gets kicked out. Like you ain't so. I know that y'all just got together in the ops, but bro, you should have learned better than that. You gotta do it better, bro. You just getting caught all early and stuff. But great, but flip side, yeah, get Hook out of here. Let's do 1-on-1, and it was beautiful. Basically, New Japan strong style and Samoa Joe just being that dude. Basically, one of the most memorable moments was Samoa Joe giving a salute to John Cena doing the STFU and just doing this. People don't realize they were in training together. I didn't realize it until maybe a couple of months ago before last year when they showed. I'm like, hold up, wait. Is that Samoa Joe with when they were really young? Samoa Joe and John Cena? I'm like, wow, what? So I'm like, sorry, a little bit of a detour. I'm like, so how did he get to train with John Cena to somehow go into TNA? WWE man is stupid. All right, we digress. Back to here. And here we go. And then of course we get to one of my favorite moments of the match where we just do strong man, let's hit each other moves where just like you slap, like basically chest chop, slap, hit, clothesline, and then out of all of that, Eddie gets the clothesline, and everybody gets. I'm like, hold on, wait. Do y'all want to give us what we want just for a little bit? Eddie at the heavyweight champion? I'm gonna be mad at it, but it didn't happen. But fast forward. Sorry. Go back to the SCFU that Samoa Joe is doing. Pure Eddie was bit his finger off to get out of it. That was great in my opinion. But all in all, Eddie got caught in the Kimura clutch. He taps out. 1, 2, 3. Still your reigning defending AEW heavyweight champion, Samoa Joe. But this was a very fun match. I was very much so into it. Like I said, Eddie Kingston feels like we're at 8% back, which I'm very much here for. And Samoa Joe, yeah, I still want the reign to continue. I'm still into it. So, but all in all, this was a very good Winter is Coming. I'm comparing it to other Winter Comings in the past, and the only thing, and usually with past Winter is Coming shows, it used to be like a big surprise, a big return, or something like that. I was missing that, but again, I'm a fan of AEW, so that's why I'm like, okay, so who's gonna come out? What's gonna happen? I didn't get that, but if you weren't, what's the word? If you weren't looking for that, this was a very great show. I'm trying to think of what what could have been changed. Like I said, preference. What preference? Let's give the preference. Maybe have the women's match at the end, then the Eddie versus Joe match in the beginning. Because more so in my mind, I didn't know who's going to win the women's match, the women's tag team match for the inaugural tag team championships. I had a 78 80% certainty that Samoa Joe was beating Eddie. So that's why I'm like, maybe that's why you should flip it. But either way, it was a very great show of Dynamite. I get Collision at A minus, but this didn't have anything egregious on this show either. So I'm going to say solid A. Solid A. I'll say solid A. But your thoughts on the match and the show overall?
So, as everybody knows, anyone that listens to Workhorse Wrestling Network knows how much I absolutely love both of these guys. They're number one and number two right now on my current favorite wrestlers list, and they might be number one and number two on my all-time favorite wrestlers list. And so my heart was extremely happy when this match was made and when it began. I'll be honest with you, I was a little disappointed in the match. I thought that it was fine for what it was. I since you said it, okay, you gave me something to think about that I hadn't really thought about. I walked away from this thinking to myself, we talk a lot on this program about why guys get over and why some people don't, and why some people have more success in their careers than others. And I thought that this match, unfortunately, I walked away from it thinking this is a perfect example of that. You have two guys that in some respects are kind of similar, right? In the fact that they're both,
Mhm.
they don't have the traditional wrestling body. They don't maybe have the traditional wrestling look. They're both a little rough around the edges. I see them kind of similar in just whatever, but Joe has had a drastically more successful career than Eddie Kingston. Drastically more successful. And I wonder why. And then I watched that match and I think it's obvious. You can see the difference in skill between the ropes between them. And I thought it looked obvious. Now, I hadn't thought of Eddie. It didn't really dawn on me. I know Eddie just coming back. You saying he's probably 80% maybe makes me reevaluate a little bit. Maybe that's some of the story they were telling. It felt like Eddie came off clunky in this match at times. It felt like there were times for me that it looked like Samoa Joe was clearly the significantly better wrestler, and why Samoa Joe is in the position he's in and why Eddie is in the position that he's been in, which is really unfortunate because I love Eddie Kingston and I want more for him. And at the same time, when you're in the ring with someone like Samoa Joe, okay, Eddie is a very solid professional wrestler. He's a good heel.
Mhm.
Samoa Joe is absolutely special. And unfortunately, I thought it looked that way in this match. And I thought that it exposed Eddie a little bit for kind of a lack of some of what he might not have. Just the actual physical attributes in the ring themselves. So, that being said, it's fine. I once he was in the clutch, I knew he was tapping out or going to sleep. I knew that was it, which is it's fine. I because I love these two, I wanted more. Like this match didn't deserve to be on a pay per view the way it came off, but I wanted more. I wanted it to be on a pay per view and for it to deliver more. Like I wanted my expectations were higher for this, so I was a little disappointed ultimately when this was all said and done. I'm happy Eddie got the shot. I didn't think he looked great in the defeat here, and I thought Joe looked really good, and I thought it showed kind of the gap between the two of them, and unfortunately why Eddie is kind of where he is in his positioning. So, which is really unfortunate because I absolutely love Eddie. I agree with you. The women's match had much less predictability. I had no idea who was going to actually win that. I honestly thought Mina and Tony could very easily win that match. In fact, if you had asked me before, percentage wise, I probably would have given a little bit more percentage to Tony and Mina just because it's Tony Storm. And it is what it is. So that match should have been the main event. This was a solid episode of Dynamite. Again, a little disappointed with this match with Eddie and Joe. Joe getting the win is fine. I'm here for the continued Joe run. I'm definitely here for Joe versus Hangman, Joe versus Swerve. I'm here for another triple threat, however that works out. It'll be interesting to see where Eddie goes from here. I don't know what it looks like for Eddie now that he's taken this loss or what's next on the table for him. I didn't necessarily need the two promos from Joe and Eddie earlier in the show. I thought those were a little whatever. And I'm still not totally 100% sure that the Mercedes Monet video package makes 100% sense to me. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just not totally sure why you put that together. Like, show her is taking the losses and then kind of a vulnerable, unless that's your goal is to try to create that spiral. So, and if that's the case, it's fine. But I thought this was solid. For a winner is coming. Yeah, I don't. My memory of stuff is terrible, so like I don't really. It's hard for me to compare it to prior ones because I don't necessarily remember what happened on prior ones. But I'll take Anika's word for it because she has a solid memory of that stuff. And if you say that we usually get a return, then yes, we definitely missed out on that. And those are always exciting, especially if it's someone that we've been waiting for to come back, or i.e. a Jay White. When's he coming back? I want to know. Those kind of things. So
Hopefully.
or Will Ospreay. I know Ospreay is going to be out for a little while longer. I think I didn't know. I was unclear like how long. I guess Ospreay is going to be out longer than Swerve. When they both went out, it was a little unclear to me who's going to be out longer, but clearly Ospreay is going to be out a little longer. I guess his injury was worse, or whatever he's dealing with is a little bit worse. But yeah, I thought this was a solid episode. I gave Collision. What did I give it? I gave it a B. So I think this is probably this is tough. This is really, really tough because I felt like it was an extremely good episode of Collision. And I thought there were a couple things that I'm tempted to kind of give them the same grade, a B, but that feels like a cop out. So I don't really know what to do. Like, I don't want to give it a grade above Collision. I don't think it was better than Collision, but I don't think it was worse than Collision either. I feel like they were kind of on the same page. And I'm saying that because as a general rule, I feel like for me, when I'm reviewing these, and maybe this is a bad way to start it, but it feels like AEW starts from kind of an A position and it starts at an A position and works its way down. Collision starts at like a C or a D and works its way up for me. And so like, it feels like this is a slightly down version of Dynamite, which would bring it to a B, and a very up version of Collision, which would bring it to a B. So I don't know. I'm going to give them
So I gave Collision an A minus. So whatever happens, Collision wins. Like I don't want us to be grading to see who wins or loses. I just like let the grade stand and we'll figure it out later. But that's what it sounds like right now.
Yeah, and that's why I'm giving them both the same grade, because I don't want it to just be like, oh, I'm trying to grade one to win. Like, I think that they were both equal shows. For me, it was a very stepped up episode of Collision and a hair down episode of Dynamite. So I thought they kind of met on this. I'm giving them both a B. You gave Collision an A minus and Dynamite a B, right? An A.
Collision, I gave Dynamite an A.
You gave Dynamite an A. So in theory, I mean, I don't know how you want to weigh that. I mean, in theory, Dynamite it got a B from me and an A from you, so it's higher on your end and it's high on my end. It seems
right.
Like would still get the win by a half a hair or so, but
yeah,
it's very close.
I'm not changing my grade.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. No, I think Dynamite technically, because if I
match
equal. Comes down to you to break them up. So
yeah, and match wise, I do think that Dynamite had better matches than Collision. Overall, Collision was good as a whole, but Speedball Mike Bailey versus Fletcher, I want to say beat every Collision match. I want Okada versus Jack Perry at least beat I want to say at least beat one of those matches. So yeah, Dynamite still wins, but by a hair. By a hair. A half a point.
Which is really good. I mean, that in and of itself is a moral victory for Collision, because Collision gets the bad rap all the time. It's the pre-recorded show. It's on Saturday. Nobody watches it, supposedly. So for it to even, and I know that we're not the end-alls. End-alls, we have no bearing on anything in the real world. But for us to see them as equal, or as Collision being a little bit better, I think is a big deal for Collision just in general. So, and it shows me that Collision's headed in the right direction. So we just want to keep that momentum. Collision has been good over the last month or two. I mean, it's been very good. I mean, I think Collision's gotten 2 wins on this show in the last month or two. I won not too long ago too. So, which for us is a big deal, because Dynamite usually wins about 75 to 80% of the time. So if not more than that. So Collision holding its own is a big deal. So good job, Tony Khan. You want all shows to feel equal. So you're doing that by making Collision a better show. So That brings us to the end of our Dynamite review and the end of another episode. I believe it's episode 48 of Winner's Circle podcast. So we're getting close to 50. For anyone that's with us or been here with us for all these episodes, we appreciate each and every one of you. Anyone that subscribed to the channel, we appreciate you all. We'll do a little house cleaning and then we will get up out of here and give you back your Saturday. So make sure and join us every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, for the Cookout podcast, where we all come together and talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. I believe, and I don't want to say it and then have it not happen, but I believe we're going to have our Horsey Awards this Tuesday coming up. So make sure and tune in for that. It will be a much smaller version, as we were a little behind the eight ball getting to it this year. So it'll probably only be 3 or 4 categories this year, but I think we're going to do some sort of Horsey Awards on Tuesday night. So make sure and join us for that. Live, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, and every Tuesday for the Cookout in general. Friday night fights, you can catch Anika and hopefully Sammy Joe or someone joining her to watch Friday night or to watch SmackDown on Friday nights in real time, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where Anika watches the show, where we watch the show and give you opinions and reviews and insights in real time. So make sure and join her for that every Friday night. Saturday mornings, which you're here with us now for, we do the Winner's Circle, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. We review Collision and Dynamite from the days before and give each show a grade and declare a winner for the Winner's Circle. This week it was AEW Collision by a hair over AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming. So big victory for Collision. And technically, this wasn't even the Collision Winter is Coming show, which is, I guess, technically this Saturday. Or tonight now, I guess, would be that show. I believe they advertised it as the Collision Winner is Coming show.
It is.
So we'll see. So Collision non-winner is coming. AEW winner is coming. So we'll see how good tonight's Collision show is. Make sure and tune in and watch that. Check it out between now and next Saturday, so you can be on the same page we are when we review tonight's Collision next week. Also, you can find us on all of these social media platforms. You can come interact with us. If you scan this QR code, the little horsey, it will take you to Linktree, and you can get to all of our social media from one spot, or you can come catch us on these social medias outside of Linktree on all these different sites. You can also catch the audio version of the Cookout podcast if you don't have time to sit and watch us on Tuesday nights, or you watch us on Tuesday nights and just want to hear us again later because the content is so amazing. You can always just listen to the audio version when you're doing chores, you're out driving around. You can force your kids to sit and listen to it, because not that this is always kid friendly, but we love the children even if we're not always kid friendly. So yes, as usual, if you're new to the Workhorse Wrestling Network channel, hit the like button or hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit that bell to be notified. If you're with us on Twitch, thanks for tuning in. Hit that follow button. We appreciate you all. And unless Anika has anything else to say, we'll cut out.
Dynamite won. Dynamite won this week.
What?
Dynamite won this week. To be clear.
Oh, I thought we said. Oh, you're right. Dynamite did win. You're right. Dynamite did win. Because
for the people who are keeping count. Yeah.
You're right. I spoke incorrectly. You're correct. Dynamite did win by a hair this week over Collision.
Very good.
I forgot. For some reason, I thought your grades were reversed when I was saying it. So yes, Dynamite did get the win. Want to give Dynamite credit. They did get the win over Collision. But Collision
by a hair, though.
By a hair.
By a hair.
Tough and had a great episode. And that was Anika's decision. I saw them both as equal this week. So
really? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing? Okay.
But thank you for correcting me on that. Yes, Dynamite did win this week. Anything else you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Take a nap. Bye.
All right, we'll cut those lights and we will get up out of here. Until next time, peace.
Bye.